It is Friday, June 28th, 2024. This is Option Pit Live. I am Mark Sebastian, your only option. And I'm joined by the Queen of the Candles, Leisha J. Leslie. Good morning, Leisha. Happy
Good
Friday.
morning. Happy Friday's right. Good morning.
Well, the PCE numbers hitting right now.
I
U.S.
see.
personal income numbers hitting. Month over month actual 5.5% versus 0.3 previous, estimated 0.4. U.S. personal spending actual 0.2 versus 0.2 previous estimate 0.3. So those look kind of in line-ish, not great, not Goldilocks, but they don't look bad. Markets off the bat don't really seem to be reacting very much to that number.
Right at 7:30 or 8:30, they had a little pop, and now they pulled back a little. So right around where they started.
Yeah, PCE for May came in line at 2.6, with expectations of 0.0 month over month. Core PCE is 0.26 in line. Yeah, PCE flat versus 0.3 previous estimate 0. PCE year over year 2.6 versus previous estimate of 2.7. Core price index 0.1 versus 0.2, estimate 0.1. So these are all pretty much in line, is what the numbers seem to say. And a couple more of these, and the interest rate train is going to really start, whistling on the track, right?
Seems that way, right? They're expecting a cut.
They're pining for it. Kind of interesting. Yeah, we came off maybe looking at the numbers, we're down a tiny bit from where that was beforehand. I'll be interested to see if there's any kind of real decision making out of that. The other major piece of news. Did you watch the debates last night?
I did. You're better off not watching it. It was sad. Sad.
Yeah.
For both of them. Like, these are the best of our best. It's just tells you that the president is a figurehead, and very sad. It was kind of depressing, actually, I have to say.
Yeah.
Like, what happened to us?
Yeah.
What happened to America?
I don't disagree with you. I mean, if they want to reach out to the common man and they got in an argument over who had the better golf score, that's not how you reach out to the common man.
Just
Just
a sad state, man. It
is. The interesting piece is when I look at the headlines today, coming from the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times, and I'm wondering if it's actually going to add to some volatility here, because there's a big wave of people trying to push Joe Biden out of the race.
Oh yeah, CNN. The very first thing they said was the Democratic Party's in a panic, which I thought was shocking that they had actually said it.
Yeah, but you look at the headline of the Wall Street Journal, and Democrats discuss replacing Biden on presidential ticket. Kamala can't be too happy about that either, because she's gone with him. But then you go and you're saying, well, it's the Wall Street Journal. Yeah, go to the New York Times, and it's Biden struggles in debate alarms Democrats, and all the op-eds are, shaky performance against Trump reinforces doubts for, it could add to some volatility, and which would be interesting.
Well, how do they transition to someone? Right, they would normally go to the vice president. Are they going to elevate Kamala or just someone brand new? Which I think they'll go to Gavin Newsom personally, but
I believe he would have to step out of the ticket. It's too late for him to, I don't think the delegates can if he stays, he's going to be the nominee. It's that simple. But if he decides to drop out, and folks, this is not a political show. Let me be very
No.
um but this does matter to trading because this is going to add some volatility. Um but if he drops out, then it actually the delegates would vote. I'm sure Kamala would put her hat in the ring. I don't think that would be the party's pick. Um because she's not exactly her numbers are actually worse than Trump's, which is I didn't think possible, but they are in terms of favorability ratings. Um, so that is what would happen. I don't know if that will happen, but that is if that could add to some volatility. Let's just put it that way. Uh,
Right.
yeah. So that's kind of the big lead like macro stories. As we're seeing this, futures are up in the S&P about 19 points. VIX futures off about 0.2. So if we opened here, we would open back above that 5,500 level, and we could potentially get a lift. What are you seeing in the charts, Leisha? As you are,
Let's take a look. So the last several days, both SPX and the Qs are up against the red median line, which is providing resistance. We do have higher highs and higher lows, so the chart is definitely bullish. Today's resistance is going to come in right there, 5503. Makes sense, right? 5500. The really the strongest support, 54.5, that has been holding, and everyone's watching that level. I think we can get a pop. The charts are bullish. I think we can pop over these median lines and rally. Wait, when's the last day of the month?
today.
Next. Oh, it is the 20. Oh, you're right. Okay, so
Yeah.
next week will be July. Okay, so will we get any window dressing on the last day of the quarter?
I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised.
Right.
We're the numbers allow for it, right? The numbers were not bad at it this morning. So, and leading in the fourth, people already checked out. It's not that hard for someone with an axe grind to start pushing things around.
That's true. The Qs already this morning are trading above the median line. So once they pop over there, that new old resistance will become new support. And the up here is 490.62 in the Qs. The previous highs are 486 half. We could hit that today.
Mm-hmm.
IWM's been interesting. It's been wallowing.
You think?
And but look today. Today it looks like it's ready. It wants to break out.
Let's take a look. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's up 1%. It's actually the biggest mover out of all the indexes.
Yeah.
Kind of interesting.
Yeah. The dollar's had a nice rally this week and could be pausing a bit here.
Well, I mean, IWM is likely to be the biggest winner if rates start to, if people anticipate rates coming in, IWM is going to be a big winner. IWM is, which is the Russell 2000, is extremely, extremely interest rate sensitive, even more so than the triple Q. And so if people perceive that rates are going to be pulled back, that period in between when people realize there's going to be a rate cut and when the rate cut actually happens, is theoretically a really good time to be long small caps.
Yeah.
Now, once the rate cuts start happening, that is a different story. Rate cuts are typically not bullish the market. If you look back historically, everyone thinks that they're bullish. Why do people think that rate cuts are bullish when we have this 50-year history of seeing them not be bullish?
Well, every time they talk about it and every time they say they aren't going to raise them, the market pulls back. And the market, because It's the way it reacts initially, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. But folks, if you look historically, they're not bullish at all. All right. Leisha, you wanted to look at crude oil too, which is an interesting. Obviously, energy was you know, you know what was funny was I didn't actually watch the debates. I went on Twitter and watched reactions to the debates, and that was the
More.
best. That was far more entertaining.
Yeah, I bet.
Because I make it a point to follow kind of a wide variety of people because I'm looking for information. Right, I'm not looking
Right.
for people to just reinforce my view. And it was interesting. President Biden tweeted 15 times during the debate somehow.
He's multitasking.
When Trump was answering, Biden was on his phone tweeting.
That's hilarious.
I don't think Biden was. I'm kidding, folks. It was his staff, obviously.
But why would they do that?
I don't know. Why not? Try and reinforce some of your points, if you will.
So crude.
Yeah. So crude. What do you got?
Crude's breaking out of its bull flag here today. Looks like it wants to trade higher.
And then last but not least, Bitcoin and crypto have been under some pressure here.
They have. Bitcoin is at a decision point here at a crossroads. It has the support and the resistance and needs to break out of this little area here. I think it's going to be the upside. It could very well be down here. 56,600 would be the next level of support. But the fact that it's holding this support, I think it could bounce.
Yeah.
Did you hear that Solana, they're talking about ETFs on Solana? That's had a nice move. Yeah. Yeah. And I told our zero DTE people back here, if you want to get into crypto, buy Solana, and it had a nice move.
Oh, yeah. Look at that. That's a really nice move.
Yep. So that's pretty cool. More ETFs on cryptos.
Yeah. I didn't know if Solana was considered a legitimate crypto ETF.
Yeah.
How much are you a big Solana investor, Lisa?
Not big, but I have a little bit.
Oh,
nice.
Gotta
sprinkle it around, right?
Yeah, absolutely. ETH look any different from these two? ETH and Bitcoin seem to be starting to correlate more.
Yeah. Kind of the same idea. But yeah, looking bullish. You have a nice hammer, not quite down to the bottom of the pitchfork. Little resistance right up here, but yeah, I'd say this is ready to bottom out.
All right. It does look like that looks pretty bullish. Any other big charts you're watching?
I talked about gold last week.
Yeah.
And it completely reversed on Friday, right after I said it. Completely reversed, but the futures held 2,300. And yesterday we had a bullish engulfing, so we're back into a possible rally. We may have a little headwind up here on this. Old support will now be new resistance. So just above here, we may have a little resistance, but once it pops back into there, I think gold will continue its rally. Just a little bear trap there.
Well, let's bring on one Viking of volatility, Andrew T. Giovinazzi, and dig into some of these headlines. Let's, Andrew, I will allow your take on the presidential debate here in a second, but I wanted to lead with, for how popular Jordan 1s are, Nike can't sell anything. It is down 15% pre-market. I don't know if you guys saw this. Nike looks absolutely terrible. Their earnings were bad. Their guidance was bad. Is Nike a good gauge for the economy, or is Nike just having their own problems? What are your guys' thoughts? And what are your thoughts, folks at home? Is Nike a
Good
good gauge
morning,
for the
Andrew.
economy, or is Nike?
Good morning.
Yeah, or is Nike a bad just having its own issues? Let us know. All right, so Andrew, what do you got? What do you? Let's start with you. What do you think?
Oh, on the debate? I mean, I don't
Nike.
think. Oh, Nike?
Yeah.
You know, they're expensive shoes.
They are.
And I think, because remember we saw Walgreens got smeared yesterday. I think you're gonna start to see a little. McDonald's is down. I'm just looking at these kind of big consumer stocks. They don't look great. What's weird is the AI thing seems to be dragging one path that's very powerful, but ever since the COVID, let's just call it, where money went to sort of big tech, and it has, and sort of Main Street has underperformed, I think, to a large degree. I think we're still in that. And I think inflation, the reality is prices are a lot higher than they were, a few years ago. And that's causing a bite. So, and I think Nike, they make expensive shoes and they sell
do.
a lot of Air Jordans, but ultimately they're not selling enough expensive shoes. And that's where people are going to pull back on stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they've lost. They're still leading in basketball, but I feel like they've lost some of their other strength. Like I feel like they've lost some of the running side. And remember, this company started out as a running, and a lot more people run than play basketball or walk.
Right.
Well, also there are so many other choices. They're not they're not the only one and only.
Right.
With Under Armour and Adidas and there's all kinds of stuff out there now.
They have edgy advertising.
Right.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So people could be leaving. Some Nike people could be leaving as well. So
yeah,
it happens.
Well, you know what's weird? Advertising. Do people watch TV anymore? Like they stream, right? They stream and they watch, they binge, they watch shows. But no one, like, who watches TV commercials anymore? No one.
Right.
I don't even know where people advertise.
Well, they're actually putting TV commercials into streaming now. In a year, Netflix is just going to be exactly like watching a network 20 years ago, except
they're slowly.
Except you're on the internet instead of over broadcast.
Yeah, and and there's more R-rated shows.
Yes.
Basically, that's what it is.
Yes. All right. So Nike kind of first up, Roaring Kitty. Andrew, I know you had a really nice day yesterday with Chewy.
Yeah.
I had played around in this one. Roaring Kitty posts a picture of a cartoon dog. And Chewy, look at that candle in Chewy.
It's insane.
A picture of a dog and a stock can increase its value by 50%.
Look at the volume.
Oh my.
Dude, another thing to look at, the August ordinary straddle is like $10.
Yeah.
Volatility went to the moon.
And a $28 stock.
Who wants? The problem is if the Roaring Kitty gets into this, and all the little, the mean people start piling in, who wants to sell all that juice? So they got the vol up pretty fast on it. So I'm selling puts basically. I'll sell puts and then buy some calls again, but I still own shares, but now I'm just selling puts because they're expensive. I'll buy some more shares in the low 20s again for sure.
It's funny though, Andrew, you were saying something all week. You had been saying something's going on at Chewy, something's going on at Chewy. I thought maybe Amazon was going to buy them or something, and
Yeah.
instead
I
it was
didn't-
Roaring Kitty.
It was Roaring Kitty.
It said it was Roaring Kitty. Well, I mean, we were looking at the volume all week. You know, and this is stock Mark and I mean, for people that watch this show, we got put shares like at 21 in December, wrote it down to 15.
Yeah.
I sold stock and then I just bought a bunch of calls. So I mean, this run has been good, but as far as like the Roaring Kitty now is, I think Chewy still is an undervalued, you know, because Amazon, when they come into a market, they haven't, you know, you remember when Amazon bought Whole Foods and Costco and Walmart both tanked? That was what, 5 years ago? And Costco was, you could buy it for like, I think $150. Okay, it's $800 now.
Yeah.
Walmart split adjusted. I think you could have bought it for $15 and now it's $66. So like, don't get me wrong, Amazon is a behemoth, but I think it's harder for them now just to sort of come in and, you know, now we're going to be Chewy, you know. People now on the internet are more interested in better customer service. You know, there's a lot more competition, stuff like that. So anyway, at least in Maine, every front porch has a Chewy box on it because everybody's got an animal. So,
well, yeah, and pets are now a part of the family, right? You know.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
for
like
sure.
audience question. All right, your dog and a stranger you don't know are drowning. You can save one. Who do you save?
Well, animals just bring love into your home, don't they? They just do. They bring love into the home, I believe.
Yeah. Speaking of saving, I don't know, Andrew. I'm sure you've got some. Did you watch the debates last night? Question one.
I did.
And question two: what's your reaction to the? And this is the part that I think is more interesting about it, right? Like nothing ever actually really gets said in a debate of value, but performance matters, right? And all the headlines going around about replacing or having Joe Biden drop out of the race. I'm surprised that we're not seeing a little increase in volatility around that. What's your take there?
Well, I mean, was either candidate's performance surprising? Like, I think Joe is old. Whatever his state is, it was clear that, you know, he probably shouldn't be president, but other people obviously are going to disagree. Trump, random. Maybe he did a little better than people thought because he wasn't so aggro, but still that devolved into some kind of stupid, you know.
They argued about golf. Two old men argued about golf.
I know. There wasn't a single, like, what are you going to do about the deficit? What are we like? There was nothing substantial at all.
Well, that's that's partially on the moderator for not asking relevant questions around the deficit.
Yeah, I mean, actually, I thought the moderators relatively were kind of more in the middle. It didn't seem to, you know, they didn't seem to poke one over the other, unless I'm missing something. But I expected it maybe to be possibly one more one-sided, but it wasn't. You know, and I think there was. You're right, but there wasn't any like, okay, how are we going to fix some of the problems we have? We didn't get any of that.
Yeah.
So what we have is like, we got a rehash. I don't think a lot of it's unexpected. Will it provide some volatility? I think any replacement for Biden at this point is going to cause probably less volatility, you know, because it's going to be somebody that probably, hopefully has some, more cognitive ability. But I think right now the polling is so strong that you're probably going to see some kind of replacement. But clearly, Biden doesn't want to go. Yeah. You know, whatever the deal is, the Biden Kamala ticket doesn't want to leave.
They'd have to. They can't force him off the ticket at this point.
No,
But
no.
if he
So
quits, they can replace him.
right. So
And who are they?
think
Who
about
would
it, should be
they?
status quo?
But if he does drop out, then the question is, and audience question number 2. So question number 1: if your dog and a stranger are drowning, are both drowning, and you can only save one, who do you save? Question 2: do you think Biden is going to drop out of the race? And if so, who will replace him? My take is it would not be Kamala. I would imagine it would be somebody with a more higher favorability rating. But I'd love your guys' opinions.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, it's a it is an unfortunate state. Like I actually would have been more happy with like a DeSantis Newsom ticket, because at least there would be two. This is a
Right.
path for this guy. This was a path for this guy. You know,
Fresh
the
blood.
two guys are pretty different. And then
people that
can
will
decide
live
if they
to
want.
see the results of their presidency for at least a decade.
Right.
You know,
So,
I think that should be the rule, right?
Right.
If you are president and you die within 5 years after you leave office, all of your laws that you enacted are negated automatically. Certain exceptions for assassinations and car accidents and things like that.
Right, right. I mean, it's clear we could use some term limits and probably an age limit for the president, but
well, there are presidential term limits.
Yeah, we have
term limits would be awesome.
We could use some
But
congressional.
in Congress, they need them. They definitely need term limits, but that'll never happen because that would have to be enacted by Congress.
Right.
It's like,
I think the only mistake really the founding fathers, I think, made, they didn't realize they thought at the time being a politician was just a crap job. Like, who would want this? And then 200 years later, they made it a great job.
They didn't realize it was going to be this giant money-making machine. Well, maybe they did.
Yeah, everybody leaves office rich, so
they sure do.
But anyway, from a vol point of view, so it is a potential vol catalyst. I mean, you have VIX is still 1237. It's up a couple of ticks this morning. I'm just looking at the vol products. You know, I think part of what we could have seen is after the debate's over, we would have a little bit more catalyst for stocks. PCE numbers out, and what have we been doing all year? We've been rallying on, okay, the news is done, it's not terrible, we rally. So I thought we would get a little bit more catalyst out of it. And then we have the new quarter coming, July next week. So I thought that might be some catalyst. So I'm interested to see, how the bid for upside options are today. If it holds with the basically 3-day week next week. And if people are still kind of coming for that, looking for, 5,500 is very close for SPX. You got a lot of numbers are really close. The Qs are tantalizingly close to 500. I don't think we'll get there next week, but it's hard to believe that it's right there. It's very, it's 19 points away.
Yeah.
So I'm still bullish until there's a reason not to be bullish, because the market doesn't care about the debt or any of this other stuff or whatever the two knuckleheads we have running for office at this point.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to be short, you can be short for like a day or two. You can't be. It's not a thing. You can be tactically, but I'm with you. The market is bullish. Speaking of bullish, now it's time for stocks we like. Leisha, last week you already kind of reviewed gold. You talked about how you liked gold. Now you said it, maybe it's looking like it's going to rally again. What stock are you looking at this week? I think I have an idea.
Tesla.
Yeah.
Tesla's ready to pop over this previous high. Made a nice little round bottom. I think Tesla's, the 200-day comes in before this. I think Tesla's ready to pop.
I like it.
The 200-day comes in at 206.5, and I believe beyond that 216. 206 and then 216.
All right. There's been a lot of bullish action in that. in Tesla, like a lot of bullish action, which I think is really fascinating. I'm looking at kind of a similar, I was talking about, there's like a rotation in the Mag 7 now. We were talking about industry rotation. I mean, look at this, right? Nvidia pulls back some, so money flows into Tesla and Amazon. Apple pulls back, money flows into Microsoft. They're literally rotating around. AVGO pulls back, they buy, Amazon. It is really fascinating how money is just sloshing around between those different 7 names. And right now, the big momentum names within that group is Amazon and Tesla. So I like Amazon.
It's $200.
When it's trading 190, it's going to 200. That's the old saying.
Yeah. Looks like 203 half.
Yeah, I like that one to go higher. I think it's got a lot of strength. And you saw the Walmart numbers. Walmart numbers were all from the plus. People think that's bad for Amazon. It's not. That just shows more people buying online. Amazon's going to long term be, 50 years from now, we might have 2 retailers, Walmart and Amazon.
Could be sooner.
And a lot of small retailers downtown.
Excuse me, Costco. Shouldn't have said. And we'll have Remy's.
Rennie's.
Remy's, yeah. Andrew, are there what name are you watching this week?
Well, I have one in my trading vehicle, but I still like SIBO as a long-term hold. I would have added Tesla, but you guys already talked about it. Then I got my trading vehicle name, but
all right. Well, we'll look at your trading vehicle. Leisha, I do have a question for you after Andrew's trading vehicle, and I'm excited to ask you that a little bit.
Should I be scared?
Around Chewy. I want you to just take a look at it. Because I have a question about what and I want to give you a minute to answer this. So we had this crazy high wave candle, right, yesterday in Chewy.
It's actually a very, very large shooting star. Well, no, you're right. It's a high wave. It's a high wave gravestone doji.
All right. So when Andrew gets back, I want you to explain to me what this means and what those ranges mean for how Chewy's going to move going forward. But before we can go do that, Andrew's got a Chewy delivery for you. He's jumped into his delivery truck, and he's going to deliver to you a great trade strategy in Andrew's trading vehicle.
Well, hello, everybody. If you could put up my chart there, Reuben, thank you. So what I'm looking at is, like I said earlier, I feel like there's almost 2 markets. There's things connected to AI, energy delivery, data centers, chips, software, all the stuff connected to AI. And what happens is you're getting these bounces, and then there's kind of like Main Street, which is everything else that eventually will use AI. So right now, Dell is kind of moving to that. It's going to be, they're going to need Dell boxes to help with AI. I think, NVIDIA, Jensen is talking about Dell and all that. So what I've noticed here is, and maybe Lisa will do a little chart thing to help me, but Dell is producing some very volatile moves, and it is connected to AI. It was like a $60 stock last year. It's $140 now. Went as high as $180. It has the thing with anything connected to AI is like everybody gets into it and then they love it. So, it has been making what I would call higher lows, which like old school me that's a bullish thing. Everybody loves it. It pulls back, but it seems to be making higher lows for the year from my observation. But the option prices aren't super expensive. So Ruben, if you switch to my screen here really fast, so you can see, you know, the chart of Dell, not, again, it has those crazy pops, and then hopefully maybe you can see there we go. So here, you still have like, so 10-day volatility kind of dropped. Now it's in the 50s. You're getting, so the whole big earnings move is done. It's out of the vol. And it's mostly like, okay, we're getting these still crazy candles, these huge candles. And we're running it around a 40 vol. So I think from this point of view, I think, we get a little rally. You want to jump on a name like Dell, buy some calls. Options are not that expensive relative. I think volatility relatively low. And, when you get these little tech rallies, Dell is going to participate because you can already see it wants to go higher. It has those spikes. People get excited and it wants to go higher. Again, Dell, profitable company. All of this AI stuff is only going to be better for companies like Dell. So I think the options to me feel a little underpriced relative to the potential that you could see. So for the trading vehicle this week, just buy some Dell calls, maybe 150s, 155s, maybe August cycle, and kind of ride what I believe will be sort of a summer rally as the Q tries to get to 500. So I think Dell could easily participate in that. And that is my trading vehicle for today.
I like it, Andrew. Look at Dell sitting right at the median line there. You get a close over 140, and I think you're right. You're going to revisit these highs. Got a nice doji the day before yesterday. I think you're right.
I
like
hope
it.
so. I'm looking at, like, I don't think the calls are that unreasonable, and there has been some upside call buying, like all the way up the strip up to like the 200 line. So it's interesting to see it. I think people right now is the debate's over and everybody's now going to crawl out from under their rock and see if they really want to buy. And we do have a holiday week. It's kind of one of those weird, so the 4th is on a Thursday, but really people will stretch it into a 4-day weekend.
Sure.
Yes.
So, and my wife was telling me, like if people that go to Cape Cod, like people start partying on Thursday and they party Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So by the time Saturday night rolls around, there's a lot of wasted people sloshing all over the beaches on the Cape. So.
Right. And
you mean you don't do that, Andrew?
Yeah. Next week, folks.
Not anymore.
We're here every Friday except for next week. Just an FYI. We're giving ourselves the day off. It is a half day. I know it's non-farm payrolls, but we'll be doing something with an option pit at 10 Eastern just to talk to you guys. But next week. So, Alicia, before Andrew's vehicle guided us into those beautiful Dell calls, I asked you a question about what does that crazy candle mean for Chewy? Because, I'm a couple of things I question is like, does the top of that range mean anything? Does the bottom? What does the entirety of the candle mean? So what do you think, Alicia?
A high wave candle is a small real body with a very long upper and lower shadow.
Okay,
so I would say this is more like a gravestone doji, which is bearish, change in trend indicator that the bulls were way in control up here until they weren't, and that was a massive reversal. So this next support level will be these little lows and these little highs right there, $27. And below there will be $23.90, and then this bigger nice support will be $20.39. You're going to have some resistance right here, 31. But yeah, this is generally a change in trend. We're going lower. Change in this uptrend, look for a pullback.
Okay. Does that top of that candle present any meaningful target long term for Chewy, or is it basically just the motion from today that matters, or from yesterday that matters?
Well, if you do get the rally, if it does recover, then yeah, that'll be your next target. It will be a target if it could ever, trade back up that way. You do have a nice uptrend there. I would draw on that uptrend to hold.
All right.
Something like that. That coincides with your 21 day also. That comes in at 24.5. But this is generally a change in trend. This uptrend's over. But you do need confirmation today. Every candle, you need the confirmation the following session.
So if I'm a long-term bull, my entry, I'm looking to enter around 27. You're telling me based on your charts, that's an area where I can start accumulating.
Yeah, 27.
All right. So Alicia, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to get a cartoonized picture of coffee and post it on your Twitter profile. Because
it's toffee, not coffee.
Toffee. I'm sorry. I thought it was Toffee the cat.
Toffee.
I need a cartoonized version of Toffee the cat, and I need to post it on Twitter so that once it trades 27, I need to do that so that I want to see one. I'd imagine that you'd move Chewy way more than Roaring Kitty.
Oh, I think you're right.
And it'll help my bull trade. Yes.
Toffee's so cute, she would do it.
All right. Well, we are running up against it, and it's been interesting. Futures have, we had that big move on the PCE announcement, and since that came out, futures have dropped about 10 points. We're getting a little recovery here, but the wind's been taken out of the sails of the S&P a little bit here.
Look at the Qs, how much they've come back.
Yeah, Qs have dropped pretty dramatically. Interestingly, the diamonds actually have rallied a little bit, and IWM has continued to go up. It's actually up about another, 10th of a percent since the news hit. So, yeah. What do you think is going to happen today, Andrew? What's your market prediction?
I mean, again, it's rally. The news kind of is out, and there's a little bit of a relief rally. The inflation stuff is about what people think. So, and that's where we are.
Yeah. Alicia, what are you thinking for the day? They're going to buy this? Or they're going to dump it?
Well, we don't look as strong as we did earlier this morning, but that doesn't mean we can't recoup those highs. The Qs have come down. They were 485. So they've come down quite a bit. I'm thinking it's going to be another one of these little, small movement days. And, bullish though, overall, for sure.
Yeah. I think, at the top of the show, we talked about it's the last day of the quarter. And, the third quarter typically is not a great quarter for the market, but the second quarter can be. I think you'll get some window dressing. I like the S&P over 5,500 and maybe touching a new high. Let's see. The all-time high for the S&P to trade was 505.53. The all-time high close. Have we had a close above 5,500?
The highest close looks like 54.90.
Yeah. So my prediction is that we will get our first close above 5,500.
I like it.
And if that happens, we'll get some more movement. Now, if I'm wrong, I do not think this will be an inside day. I don't know what's telling me, but we've had 5 inside days in a row. All right. The last time we had any real movement was the 17th. Monday we had a little bit. I guess we had a nice range Monday. Monday's range was, let's see, but I had a high of 54.90 and a low. We had like a 40. We had at least some movement, but the last real movement was the 20th. So it's been a while since we've had a more than 1% move day. I don't know. I just get the feeling that we're going to have a day. So I think the route if I'm wrong, it'll be because we sold off. We're gonna have an outside day on a rally. All right, we're gonna have an outside day on a rally, an inside day on a sell-off. That would be kind of the way I would see things. And I will be inside most of the day because it's going to be 100 degrees here again in Texas.
Ooh.
That's my plan. Well, Leisha and Andrew, it is now, we're running up against it. It is 9:16. We've got our predictions. So in today's show, we gave you everything you need to know. We solved presidential politics for the entire country. We reviewed charts on SPX and the Triple Q, talked about Nike, Chewy, and Roaring Kitty. We asked you guys what you thought about Chewy and who would replace the president. Andrew gave us a ride in his Dell delivery truck, and Leisha explained, gave us a little lesson on dojis after we reviewed Chewy. So with that, it's time for us to leave. So for the Viking of Volatility 1, Andrew T. Giovinazzi, and the Queen of the Candles, Leisha J. Leslie, I am Mark Sebastian, your only option. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Have a good one, everybody.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Happy 4th.
You know how the financial world goes. Here comes the buzzkill. Please make sure to take some time to read this boring disclaimer. We will owe you one.